Arlene Pakulin and the Nighttime Band. Dave O'Hearn, you gotta love those licks, eh? You just gotta hear the music. Fortunate to have a live band. Speaking of music, I am joined by an icon of the Canadian music industry. The band that this gentleman played in was in 1975 with the likes of Rick Emmett and Mike Levine, and the guy behind the skins and the drums, and to this day owning a very successful music studio and still regarded as one of the best, Gil Moore. Gil.
Hi, Michael.
How are you, man?
Great to see you.
Shake your hand. Nice to see you again. I've had the pleasure of meeting Gil probably over 10 years. We've met about 3 or 4 times. I've had the opportunity to go to Metalworks, which is your studio, and I have to say, as a kid, not that I'm that much younger than you, but listening to your music in the band Triumph, what a fantastic legacy you have left us with, and what fantastic job you are building new musicians and people who love music through Metalworks. How fantastic is that?
Well, it's the universal language, right? It's what keeps us all, you know, on the same playing field. Politics aside, religion aside.
The great drum solos you used to have during concerts. Not that many drum solos anymore that are going on in rock and roll bands.
Well, things are changing, you know. I mean, EDM right now is the music that's gaining popularity, and you know, it's all about DJs and cutting tracks together and, you know, kind of hip-hop-ish production techniques, so not so much drum solos right now.
The music business, Gil, has changed so much. It used to be you would, as a musician, you would be at the mercy of a record company, you would invest in your album, you would have band debt, they would pay for your music video, and then they would distribute you, and you would make monies on selling records. Now it's totally upside down. It's all about downloads. You have to come to a record company with your music already recorded, and you're going to them for potential distribution. How weird is that you've seen it go the other way?
It really is, you know, sort of a 180. But like, you know, like all industries, Michael, everything changes over time. And you know, since in what I'll just say generally in media to digital formats, it's changed everything for music. But the opportunities are phenomenal now. I mean, when you take a look at some of the younger artists like Drake, for example,
who's recorded at your studio.
Very much so, Metalworks, yeah. And we've watched Drake and how his career exploded, you know, and a lot of it had to do with the net, you know, and how he disseminates his music over the net. Same thing with Justin Bieber. I mean, he really started, you know, kind of in his that was kind of ground zero for Justin. So it's a changed world. You know, the internet has given musicians a wider audience, but it's also got its challenges as far as the intellectual properties rights are concerned. So, and
when you talk about your studio, it's interesting. There's been many stories about people who have made fame and fortune both in music and entertainment, and once their star sunsets into its golden age. I mean, you're not playing regularly with Triumph. We still love you and believe in you. You know, many of those are, and I'm just saying that many artists have fluffed away their money. You were smart. You invested your money into a brick and mortar business that is probably one of the busiest recording studios in Canada. You mentioned Drake, Katy Perry, the Jonas Brothers. I can go on and on. How fantastic that you've been able to translate your talent and your skill into the ability to give Canada more musicians.
I just feel really lucky. I really do. I mean, when we finished using the studio strictly for Triumph and we went, you know, I'll call it, you know, commercial or multi-studio and had commercial clients, it's just something that I loved. Comes naturally to me, the being around musicians and being friends with them and the producers and so on. So I get to kind of live vicariously through a few of their experiences. And you know, over the years, when we got back into sound and lighting and live shows, which we do now with Metalworks, and we built the school 10 years ago. So now we have a whole group of young people that are coming up into the industry. You know, I feel like I work at Disney World. That's how it feels to me. I'm just, I'm happy to be there. I'm the happiest guy there, I think.
But to listen to a successful musical icon talk to me about being vertically integrated in businesses is refreshing. No, but I mean, really, I mean, what a great, I mean, you were inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame for Mississauga at the same time as Austin. Did I say that? Oscar Peterson. I don't want to slur the man's words. How fantastic is that? An acknowledgement of what you brought to us, what you've left to us, and what you continue to bring forward. I mean, it's quite a compliment.
Thanks,
and I got to tell you, I mean, I've seen you play. I've had the fortunate ability to go through your studio. It's state of the art, and people can learn how to be involved in the music business through Metalworks.
Yeah, our school, it's just kind of exploded, really, over the 10-year period. This fall, we're going to have over 300 students, and you know, the business, because back to your point about digital, there are just so many other areas now where there are jobs for people in the business, and they're more technical than they used to be because of computer processors that have changed everything we do. Every process that we do has been changed by the computer, and so it's really it's fun for me to be able to see young people coming into an industry with some training and with more opportunities. You know, when I started, it was kind of, you know, you hang around with the band and you hope something good happens, and there was no schools, there was no, you know, formality to the process. It was really just, you know, learn by hanging around. Can I carry your guitar? That was your that was your ticket.
Well, the old days when a Neve soundboard was the one where you would have it programmed. You've seen it on many of those commercials where they move by themselves. When the Neve came out as far as a soundboard, that was a thing. The SSL board, all those things, we were all absolutely taken aback by these technologies that were hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now we look at people who can use Pro Tools and be able to at least create a bed track and something in their home. What have you seen in the new musicians and the people who have come to Metalworks to record their album? What are the trends that you're seeing? What's the next thing to happen, Gil?
Well, you know, as I said earlier, EDM is a trend, and I look at it as a sort of an extrapolation of hip-hop. I don't know that everyone would agree with me on that, but I see a lot of similar production techniques. They're actually similar to, you know, post for film work. You know, when I hear a hip-hop track, I'm thinking Jurassic Park track at the same time. And same thing with EDM. It's like that chopped up becomes EDM. So there's this merging of styles and technologies that's definitely dominates the landscape. But they're still true, you know. I mean, the movie that just came out about a Neve console, as a matter of fact, called Studio City, you know, takes us back to the roots. A lot of these digital platforms emulate, you know, analog devices. People constantly ask me, well, do you guys use digital or use analog? And it's like asking a chef, you know, to use margarine or butter. I mean, the guys use whatever's appropriate, you know, for the recipe, and it's most often a mix. Well, analog hasn't gone away, but digital has definitely changed everything in terms of how you get to that final product. And then, of course, distribution, as I said, it's a completely different deal because everyone can get their message out to the world.
Right.
Now, whether the message is any good or not, okay,
that's
something
true.
else. That's something else.
I mean, I always remember going in with Honeymoon Suite and with a bunch of other guys, Rob Laidlaw, a bunch of people that we both know, and they have that certain keyboard in there, and it's an old keyboard from the 60s, and the music and the sound that comes out of that, all you got to do is stick a microphone in front of it. You don't want to do anything to it. It's because that natural sound is what it is. And it's the beauty of having an analog instrument being recorded to a digital format that you can manipulate. How weird is that?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, yesterday I happened to walk in, and on our Neve board, which we have in one room, Tom Cochran is in there recording banjo. The banjo sounded absolutely amazing. You know, what they did with it in the recording. And if you heard it, you'd say, gee, what instrument is that? You wouldn't even think it was a banjo. But the track was spectacular, and a lot of it is to do with the way it's processed now. You do start with a lot of natural sounds on the floor, you know, old-fashioned microphones that are 40 years old,
and you take that
compressors.
And the sound comes through.
And then, of course, they have the secret sauce from digital that